We had the countdown, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we did.
Hear it.
If you didn't hear it, it was on the screen. And Nick, my awesome cohort.
Esteemed colleague.
You're an awesome cohort. That's different from an esteemed colleague.
I like being a cohort. I like college.
You did not.
No, I loved both times I went.
Did you? Yeah, that's what you said about second grade, too, wasn't it?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Second grade, the toughest 4 years of my life.
Exactly. It reminds me of Van Wilder, college. Yeah.
Oh, no.
You should have been a doctor by now.
I was thinking of Animal House.
Oh, that's
8 years of college down the drain.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was very good. Welcome, everybody, to this edition of PoddiMouths. We have, this is kind of becoming a ritual. We have, I'm John, and he is Sick Nick.
Again.
For picnic. But you saw, you're smiling. You can tell you feel better. You had sort of a relapse. Better. Why don't you tell everyone about it?
I don't want to call it a relapse. It was not a cocoa relapse.
All right. So,
and forgive me, I'm playing with talking. I'm playing with my volumes.
It's a Jim Gaffigan thing. Are you in a well? Yeah, I was in a well. How did you know?
Exactly. No, I am running everything. I've said this. I'm running everything through a board, but the board is not. I'm actually standing today at my standing desk rather than sitting. When I'm sitting, I can reach over and tweak things on the board, but when I'm standing, I actually have to walk over and tweak it.
I would stand to, and I just as a disclaimer, I would stand to. I actually do have a standing desk packed somewhere. It's not in the rental. If I stood now, I'm wearing a thong. I just don't want to make it.
I was going to say it's the pants thing. It's always a pants thing.
Well,
no mas pantalones.
Yes, that would be not good.
That's going to be the name of. That's going to be the first part. No mas pantalones.
No mas pantalones. That will speak to my buddy Matt Pitzner. He is a no mas pantalones king.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, and thank you, Matt, by the way, for buying us coffee.
Matt bought us coffee. 3.
Yeah, 3. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
I must have been buying it for him.
Obviously.
No, one for me, one for you, and one for him. Yeah.
Was he joining us?
Well, did you call him? I forgot to call him. I don't have his number.
I sent him a nice text.
Good.
No, he purposely told me not to give you his number.
I know. Most people do say that.
Not everybody. Your wife, it was kind of weird that your wife told me not to give you her number.
She keeps telling me to lose her number. I know. So strange. So funny. So going back to the Sick Nick thing.
Yes, Sick Nick.
It has been, it's still October, but it's coming to an end. But I have been sick. October is by far my favorite month. And it's because Halloween, it's beginning of fall. That's when the colors start changing and do change for the most part. It's just my favorite month. And I have been sick for 2/3 of it. And it's been really annoying. It's like, I haven't been sick. I think I may have said this before. I haven't been sick for about 4 years. So it all just piled on with cocoa and then with this, whatever I'm facing now, which normally would have been gone in 2 or 3 days. It's like a cold. That's pretty much the best way to describe it. Lots of gunk and coughing, and that's it. Not really feeling sick per se, just not being able to really function because my head's cloudy. And it just will not go away. It's been over a week, and today is the first day I've actually felt decent, and I'm still medicated. If I went without medication, thank you very much. And so anyway, we have an event coming up next week that is where a lot of our group is coming in for a meeting. And one of my coworkers said that his kid just got sick with the flu. So I looked at him, and we all know him, Matt. He's another Matt, a different Matt. And I said, Matt, if you get me sick with the flu, now that I've had cocoa, I've had a cold, and then if you come and get me sick with the flu, my wife is going to divorce me. So if you want my divorce on your hand,
teetering like that?
Oh yeah. Oh, she's pissed. She's like, I missed her trunk or treat. I've missed all of the fall planning.
You missed it?
I missed it. Yeah. Because I was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, technically I missed it because I was traveling, but when I got home, I was sick. I was sick again. That was the mistake I made. Is I thought I was good enough. I thought I was well enough to actually travel last week. I wasn't. I should not have traveled.
And we were just saying this off the air that that is the worst, is traveling when you're sick, because and even the last time I was sick traveling, which was not great. I think it was just after they lifted the mask thing in airports. I wore a mask, and I'm like sneezing, but that's when you should wear a mask, probably.
Absolutely. Yep.
And and I had to tell people, just so you know, I'm not a crazy mask person.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm not a crazy mask person.
I don't think anyone cares anymore. If you see someone with the mask,
I mean,
they even say it on the airline. Say, hey, we don't care if you wear a mask or if you don't wear a mask. Just be kind to the person because of their opinions.
Agreed. And it's not even that. It's like I say, if you're sick, you really, if you're like sneezing and gunky like you were and I've been, you then probably should wear one.
Right.
And again, if it's, and that of course is flying in the face of anyone who says masks don't work. But even on the outside chance that they do, they work at least as well as a Kleenex.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Give it a shot. It's not a bad thing. And I think, and that's a good thing that's happened since they've removed the mandate is that people make choices and nobody, I don't judge. I don't care.
I don't judge. No, I don't care. Yeah. I think that too. I think most people probably think that way as well. Mm-hmm. And most people, if I see them wearing a mask, I think they probably got a good reason for it.
I assume they're ugly. That's my initial thing.
I said good reason.
Yeah, well, I'm saying
right.
You're agreeing what they are.
Yeah. So that is my ongoing adventure. I am feeling a lot better today, but still, like I said, I'm medicated. I'm going to probably medicate for the next couple of days just until.
Like that's anything new. Right. You think it's mostly going to be whiskey?
Different kind of medication. Yeah. No, this is real medication, not snake oil.
Snake oil. Well, is that the kind of whiskey you've been drinking? Don't do that.
Yeah, that's a great brand.
That's terrible. I remember this is it's so many years ago. In fact, as you and I spoke last time, 35 since Lisa and I have been married.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. It's mostly her for not killing me. And we got back in the day, had the beautiful wedding album. And I mean, it's really nice and very well done. The photographer was a friend of the family. There is one picture of Lisa's late stepfather, Dean, talking to my mother. That's what I loved about that wedding and many other times when you get together with outside of your family, how people interact that don't normally interact. And you get to see it. Dean has this cowboy hat on, and he was a cowboy. It was real, and had nice boots and a tux, a black tux. And he's looking at my mom, and he's going like this, and my mother is listening, sort of going, oh, right. You can kind of see that in her eyes. Lisa and I have captioned it because he had a little bit of a tickle in his throat, so he was sipping whiskey all day. And so the caption Lisa and I came up with was, Lois, the reason I'm sipping this whiskey is because ... And it's just a great, I'll show you sometime.
I want to see that. That's awesome.
Because it's hilarious.
Well, there are whiskey recipes because it is supposed to be good for you when you're sick. That's what they had before cough medicine. And, you take whiskey, honey, lemon, you heat it, and you pour water and you have it makes a tea. And that is supposed to be a really good cough medicine, also called a hot toddy.
Hot quaddy. That was.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, nobody's buying that. But my brother's in-laws are from Germany, and they, for cough medicine, did not take cough medicine. They took the predecessor, which was Jägermeister.
Yep. Which tastes like cough medicine.
It does. And that's truly what they took when they were young. It was that with the alcohol in it. And so it was fun. And I think it probably took them back in time because we would, for several years in a row, we would hang out with them at New Year's. And, we're all drinking everything that moves. And they would just, every once in a while, and certainly at midnight, have a shot of Jaeger. And I'm sure it just took them back to childhood.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I lived in St. Louis, I lived in the part of town. It's the oldest part of town in St. Louis. It's actually where the Anheuser-Busch Brewery is. It's called Soulard, for those of you who are not familiar with St. Louis or who are. And every year they have a lot of events down there. They have Mardi Gras. And one of the events was Oktoberfest. And some of my friends were event planners, and they would ask once in a while for volunteers to work certain events. And so I was voluntold to work the Jaeger bomb stand at Oktoberfest. I know, which is, you don't get paid for this. This is a volunteer thing. So one of the things you are allowed to do is either get tips or the people buy you a shot. Most of the people ended up buying you a shot, and why? It's one of those situations where you walked in and you rolled home. Yeah, that was those years, both at the Mardi Gras. Every time I was voluntold to do Mardi Gras or voluntold to do the Oktoberfest, I got paid very well. Let's just put it that way.
Paid very well.
Paid very well. I got tipped very well.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love, a friend of mine was actually in Austria, someplace, for Oktoberfest this year. And posted some pictures on Instagram, and oh man, wow, you're the St. Pauli girl. You're the St. Pauli girl. You're the St. Pauli girl. They're drinking these massive steins of beer. It was some great pictures.
That's awesome. I started watching a YouTube channel every once in a while, and it's Feely from Germany. Is it Feely? It is Feely, but I don't know if it's Feely from Germany. Anyway, it's a girl who lives in Cincinnati who's originally from Munich.
Oh,
and the last couple of episodes, it's just really interesting because it was like one of those a German's impression of this in America.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting just seeing the cultural thing. But the most recent post that she's been putting up, she took her American boyfriend over to Munich. Is it Munich? I think it's Munich. For Oktoberfest, for his very first Oktoberfest. She bought him some lederhosen and took him over there. And it was his.
Oh, he didn't have them already?
No, he didn't have them. But it was his impression of Oktoberfest, which it was interesting listening to the culture shock. And they were showing some of the video. I mean, it's crazy. It's like Oktoberfest isn't just this little thing. It's this massive, massive event. And when they open the gates the first day, it's a madhouse. Like people are charging, and they're not even selling beer yet. And people are charging to get to the head of the line in the beer tents, which aren't tents, people.
Right.
They're massive stick built buildings that are temporary. Wow. And they're racing to get in line so they can get their first liter of beer. And you don't order a specific beer. You just say, when you go into the tent, you say, I'll have a liter, or I'll have 2 liters, or I'll have 3 liters. And that's what they bring you, is a liter of whatever beer they decided they're going to serve from that brewery. That's running the tent.
Very cool.
It was interesting.
And the long tables, I like that whole thing too. You know what it reminds me of, or what reminds me of that is a lot of barbecue restaurants in the U.S. where you share a table with people you don't know. And I like that because I eat very messily. And,
yes, you do.
I like to just smear it on my face a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
See what they say.
Hopefully you get people to lick that off too. Get some of the barbecue sauce off.
It depends, if they haven't shaved.
Well, I was going to say horses count.
Oh, okay. I don't have any idea what you're talking about now.
I had a coworker once. We were in New Orleans. It was
we don't serve horses here.
No, close.
What the long face?
So we were at a hotel right off of Bourbon Street, and the next morning, her husband called her and said, "So what did you do last night?" She said, "We went to Bourbon and we took a left." Okay, but what did you do? There was a pause, and we were in the conference center when she was in just a little room waiting to go out and do our thing. And she paused for a second. And she said, "We went to Bourbon and we took a left." because that's all she remembers from that night. And we have a picture of her kissing, like mouth to mouth kissing a police horse.
One of the horses.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So we took that home to her husband, and
she didn't wake up in bed with the horse. Like
no.
Airplane or whatever.
We made sure she got home safe, but yeah, it was pretty funny. We went to Bourbon and we took a left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people do actually.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happens on Bourbon
Yep.
Street. And it makes me sad that New Orleans has turned into here Downer John, turned into such a problematic place with crime and everything. It's really sad because it is a wonderful town, used to be a wonderful town for partying. And I hope it gets back there again.
Did I mention I'm going down there next week?
Good for you. No, you're going
the week
Baton
after next,
Rouge.
actually.
You're going to Baton Rouge. Thank you
so sorry.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
bleep that out, folks. Don't worry.
Thanks for. You will not. What do you mean, folks? Why are you telling them?
I don't know.
If you're going to do it, you're not going to do it.
Probably not. You guys can listen to that.
I'm just thankful you're not doing a lumberjack off the side.
Yeah, I don't do that. I try. Everyone has to try once in their life.
Would you admit it if you did?
I probably would. You know me. I'd probably be proud of it. If I was able to do something manly in my life, I would most definitely admit that I could do that.
I'm not sure that's manly, or at least the kind that women like. Ooh, look at how
not
manly
the guy. No, okay. There's definitely
next to the next county.
There is definitely a difference between manliness from what guys think there is manliness versus manliness from what girls think are manliness.
Correct.
And that I would agree with you is not what women look for in a man, is the ability to farmer snot, do a farmer blow.
Lumberjack. I love the lumberjack. I will admit.
You can tell we're from Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yes, I know. Paul Bunyan. Hello.
Exactly.
I'll admit I've done it on a golf course when there's no other option for whatever reason. And then I've got the golf towel that, well, you can figure the rest out. But it's not, whatever. If you're outdoors and there's no one around that you're going to offend or gross out, or, hi, Grandma, hold on just a second, snack. You're not going to do that. It's going to be, anyway. So just standing up for men who do manly things that men say are manly.
Right.
That's one that's not that bad if you execute it correctly.
If you execute it correctly. And of course, you know that if I were to do it would not have been done correctly. I'd have it running down my face. Exactly. Yeah. And then someone would look at me and go, you haven't had enough water today, have you?
Dude, they instantly go to the solution.
Yep. Yeah. You really have not had enough water today. You are dehydrated.
Yeah. And maybe carried a red hanky.
Yeah. So let's talk seriously though. I think that was one of the reasons I probably quote unquote relapsed. And when I'm saying relapse, I'm not talking about co-coded.
No.
I'm talking about I was feeling better and then got sick again.
Yeah.
It was because I was traveling. And what do I do when I travel, or what don't I do when I travel?
Yep.
I don't hydrate.
Why? I thought you had gotten
get
better
up every
that.
5 minutes to pee, and if I'm on an airplane, I'm not doing it.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. You need to carry a Camelback and then maybe a Stadium Buddy, one of those things.
I should. Yeah. No.
Then you just run the thing; it just runs through.
Yeah. Well, if you got a long enough
Stadium Buddy.
That's pretty much how it flows. No pun intended.
Well, yeah, you don't want to do it in reverse. That is not good.
Yeah.
No, sir. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reverse osmosis does not work with my system like that. Yeah.
No.
Call it the John system. Which
this
seems appropriate.
It is a good. I've been watching YouTube per usual, obviously, since I haven't really been doing much the last few days.
Yes.
So I was watching YouTube and watching Eamon and Beck. I know you've heard me talk about this before, and
they're friends of Kara and Nate.
Yeah, and I don't know if I've mentioned or if anyone hasn't watched them. Beck, the female partner, has been battling breast cancer for the last year.
Okay. Oh, right.
Young,
right.
Yeah, very young
Kara
woman.
said something about that. Yeah.
Yep. So very young woman. She's been doing the recovery. She's on this side of it. She's on the good side of it. I think she's going to make a full recovery, but
awesome.
So it's been a year since they've gone out and traveled. So they own a cabin in Canada, but they also do the van life thing. So the last video I watched was them going to meet Kara and Nate and the people from La Vagabond and someone else that I don't remember his name, but he's probably the not oldest age-wise, but the oldest YouTuber of the group. He's been doing it longest out of everybody there. And there's a story in there that I'll add too. So Eamon and Beck were going to go meet them in Spain to do a silent yacht tour for 2 weeks.
Which is for, if you haven't seen it or heard of it, it's them and they don't rent anything. They're influencers, so they get this stuff for nothing. They have a solar powered yacht that is it's a catamaran and very nice, beautiful. They did a tour and it's totally solar powered, although they do have a diesel engine aboard, which
for emergencies. Absolutely,
for emergencies or whatever. If they can't get in, you can do several days at the
just on the
because it's DC power with the inverter. But anyhow, yes, continue.
So anyway, they start the video and they're doing a 5K run for breast cancer, and they're supposed to leave the next day, but then Beck gets sick with COVID. And they wait a couple of days and Eamon keeps testing negative. So she's like, you need to go and I'll just catch up with you. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. So she books a ticket for him and makes him go. And so he ends up going and he goes through this long trip and all this stuff, all the way to get there. And he's about to get on the boat and everyone has to test before they get on the boat, and he tests positive. Yeah, he never got sick, but he tested positive, so he couldn't get on the boat. So a week later, Beck flies in. Then they finally both test positive. So they're supposed to be on the boat for a full week, but they only get 24 hours on the boat.
Wow.
But it's just amazing how all of this stuff still
Well, and so that's a really good segue to this, because I wanted to ask that question. At what point does COVID not become the thing?
Well, see,
is that ever going to happen? Is it always just going to be COVID? Is it going to be the next thing that is, thrown out, or what?
I think I truly think that no matter what, COVID is not going away. We know that, right? I think though the way people view things, like I was sick for almost a solid week before I traveled. I should have been well at that point. And I was feeling better at that point. It should have been the tail end, like I'm feeling today. It should have been the tail end of everything, but it wasn't. So should I have traveled? If I would have known what I know now, no, I shouldn't have traveled. But
that's always the case, though, right?
However, I was supposed to travel before that. Normally, before COVID, I would have anyways, because it was just a cold.
Right.
But because of COVID, I said, no, I'm going to stay home and get better. So my whole point to that is I'm thinking no matter what it is, whether it's a cold, whether it's the flu, whether it's COVID, I think more people are more apt to stay home now, no matter what it is, to get well before they go anywhere, whether they go back to work, whether. So I'm thinking,
I don't know if that's a bad thing.
No, I think it's a good thing. It's a really smart thing.
Yeah.
That's what, one of the biggest losses businesses take is the time that people are off for illness. And if we can cut that, if we can curb that by people actually staying home when they're sick, then companies are going to save millions upon millions, even billions of dollars.
I would say, certainly collectively, I would say, though, that I think we have all gotten better at remote work.
Absolutely.
And so I think, and I'm hoping that has changed and continues to change the culture where, if you don't have to be in an office, why?
Right.
Why,
right. I think that's part of it too.
Flies in the face of, Elon and some other people who are, you need to be here. Well, okay, if you need to, you need to. I understand that part of it too, but it's tough to be. We've done the telehealth thing. Have you done that? It's just,
I haven't, no.
It's fine. My doctor's a nice guy and I've seen him in person. So it's fine. There's that connection. But it's ridiculous. You're not going to fix anything by saying, "Ooh, yeah, you look like you have some whatever."
Yeah.
So I some things are meant to be in person.
And that's so with my particular job, without getting too into the weeds about it, but we have found that. And I won't, like I said, I'm not going to get too deep into it. But it's an important point, though. It is. We have 2 meetings with every client. One is kind of, let's call it a discovery day, and one is presenting the results. The discovery day, while it's good to be in person, doesn't necessarily have to be in person. Whereas the delivery day, and we've done it both ways for both days, the delivery has to be in person. We have found that more gets done when we can deliver in person than we deliver virtually.
Well, you have a unique client too, though. So when you're dealing with entrepreneurial type people, most of them are severely ADD.
Yes.
And because of that,
I would have to disagree with you on the client thing, because I don't care what client it is. It's the same thing. It is absolutely the same thing.
Well, no, I'm not saying from one to the next. I'm saying they're all ADD. If you are an entrepreneur that owns a major business, whether it's a dealership or whether it's a shopping center or a clothing store, those owners are often, by their very nature, type A personalities who are often ADD. And so if you're trying to keep their attention for an hour or 2, good luck. Right. It's tough enough when you are in front of them, and even more so when you're not. You will definitely lose them if it's on a Zoom meeting.
100%. 100%. Yep. And even, and that is what we found. And that's why it's really important for us, which is, again, why I got on an airplane, even though I probably shouldn't have, because that was what I was doing. I was presenting my findings, presenting the results. It wouldn't have worked if I wasn't there. And I get that. Yeah, for sure. I really think, Nick, but that also illustrates the other piece of it that you and I have talked about before, that face-to-face is a great complement to video. Yes.
And whether the video is live or on demand or whatever, face-to-face complements that in a way we never used to think about, because everything was face-to-face years ago.
Right.
And since it's become a lot more viable to do video, whether it's, live on Zoom or whether it is on demand, I think the two together are a great combo. But one without the other isn't nearly as good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. So
anyway.
That said, I think
that's so unusual.
I know. And I think this is a good time to end the podcast, since we are actually agreeing on something.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you see our podcast getting shorter and you don't like it when we agree, it's probably a good idea. Okay, I'll skip to next week. But if you like when Nick and I kind of come together and we're both wearing black T-shirts too.
We are. Well, mine is kind of a bluish gray.
I guess mine is black, but okay. Let's say black.
It's we're getting close to Halloween here, and I want to make sure that I'm ready.
That's the only time I wear a black T-shirt.
On Halloween, I know you, but on Halloween I will be all blacked out. I almost wore my costume on today.
Yeah.
I actually went and bought a new costume. I haven't purchased my own costume in probably 5 years, but I actually purchased one I used to have because it's so versatile. So I got the black. No, I got the black hood. The long black hood, almost like a Scream costume.
Yes.
And so all I have to do every year is just change the mask. And I got a plague mask this year. So it's black plague mask with metal bolts in it. And I'll wear a black face, and under that, it's going to be scary as hell. And I got a staff.
Next year? Who will it be next year?
Well, next year, I don't know. So the mask I wanted. So the only reason I got the plague mask is because I wanted. We went to the Halloween store, and they had walking sticks, and the mask that I wanted was a multicolored. Just a weird mask. It was very unsettling. Very unsettling. It had a long black thing.
But there wasn't. You were wearing it.
Really. Yeah, but it didn't. There was no walking stick that matched it. And Jen was all about the walking stick too. And she found a walking stick she liked, which was a skull with a plague mask on it.
Oh
and
my
she's
gosh.
like, you need to get that. So go get a plague mask.
Oh my gosh.
So I wouldn't
so
go plague mask.
gross looking. That's the bird, like the beak thing,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Oh
yep.
my gosh.
And if it weren't down 2 floors, I'd bring it up and show y'all. But maybe I'll put a picture. Maybe I'll put a picture up on.
How will we know it's you?
You won't.
Oh, well,
that's the whole point.
I can get the picture on Google then. No, but I mean, we have to know. You take the beak and go, and then put it back down again.
Right.
2 pictures.
Yes. Exactly. Okay. Sure not. No.
I would like that.
Yes.
Right, you gotta go.
I'll do that for you.
Yes, I know. Whatever. Get out of here.
Have a great day, everybody. You head up to PoddiMouths.com to learn more about us and the podcast.
And buy us coffees. Like our
and
friend Matt
coffees.
Bitzer.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, smash the like button.
Smash it.
And subscribe. Bye, everybody.
See ya.